So the other day I walked into a donut shop, and it's early. I mean, it's like 5:30 in the morning, so everybody's kind of grumpy. And there's an old man in there. He's probably pushing 80 years old, and he's opinionated. I'll say that. He's very opinionated. So I said, "How you doing this morning?" And he says, "Do you really effing care?" You know, in all honesty, in my mind, I'm thinking, no, I don't. I was just being friendly. But how many times do we say the same thing? How you doing? Great, wonderful, blessed. We lie. And so he's calling me out on it. He says, "Do you really effing care?" I'm like, dang, he's right. I don't care. And so I was like, I need to re-examine my heart. So I said, "You know what? I do care. How you doing today, man?" And he says, "You don't care. You're just being polite." And so at this point, it's like a challenge, man. You're going to freaking engage me, you old sucker. And so I said, "You know what, man? It's early, and everybody's grumpy." I said, "But we woke up on this side of the dirt, so we're blessed, man." I said, "Let's look at it that way. We're very, very blessed." And he says, "It's all in perspective, I guess." And he's just griping. He has a complaint for every blessing that I throw at him. And so I wind up start talking to him about Jesus, because surely he can't find something to gripe about Jesus. And so he said, "You one of them Bible thumpers?" I said, "Yeah, if you want to call me a Bible thumper, I suppose so." I said, "I prefer to just be called a follower of Christ." And he says, "Well, how's that working out for you?" And I said, "Pretty dadgum good, man." And so then I started telling him about who I was and who God has turned me into, and how I believe in divine appointments. And I believe that God puts people in other people's paths at the right moment and for a reason much bigger than what we ever will realize this side of heaven. And that even he and I, the encounter we had, I believe was orchestrated from God to remind him how blessed he truly is. Anyway, long story short, and I know it's already a long story, but even more short than what it could be, I wound up sitting down with that old man, and we started talking about life. And he had had a rough life, and he had a lot of reasons to complain. But when I got done talking to him, he shook my hand, and I said, my wife and my son was in the vehicle waiting on me. And he shook my hand. I said, "Man, I got to go. My family's out there in the vehicle waiting." And he said, "I want to tell you something." He said, "I truly do mean it when I say, I hope you have a beautiful day." And he said, "Most people that you meet today are going to say, I hope you have a great day or have a good day." And he goes, "They don't really mean it. They don't care." And he goes, "But I truly do hope you have a good day." And I looked at him and I said, I can say sincerely without a doubt, I hope you do too. And, sometimes we just got to slow down long enough to realize that God has put these people in our lives to influence them, to impact their life, and to show them a different way. This old man wasn't a bad man. He just didn't have anybody in his life that even cared. And that's what he was pointing out to me. You're just like everybody else. You don't really care. And as a follower of Christ, it's our job to care. Christ said one time, he said, "Oh, you love those who love you? Well, whoopity-doo. You want a special prize for that? You want a lollipop? Even non-believers love those who love you. But I'm calling you to love those who do not love you, those who persecute you, those who slap you upside the head with bad words." And the list could go on and on. We're called to a greater, more impactful purpose-filled life. And when God puts people in your life, remember, it's for a reason. It's for a reason. So when you see somebody today and you say, hey, how you doing? And they go, oh, I'm fine. Say, no, I really do care. How are you? How can I pray for you? And watch the difference it makes in their life. You're going to be surprised when you simply say, no, really, how can I pray for you today? Everything changes at that moment. Go love people. Go show them what Jesus with skin on looks like. Let him shine through you today.